everybody, this is Tina. Welcome to my video today, you guys. I want to share a really quick video with you guys where I show you how I put together this 8.5 by 11 page size layout. And I used some of the same product that I've been using this last week. So that Color Theory designer paper, and then the Memory and More cards that go with that same suite of product. And originally I was going to use that leaf stamp set that I used yesterday, but I decided to go a different direction when I kind of dove into this. And one of the things that was happening is I was kind of spending too much time trying to put this layout together. Just was not coming together very easily for me. And so I got out a couple different products. I'm using this Coffee Paper Designer Series paper here. And this paper is actually part of the buy 3 get 1 free. So if you want to stock up on some designer paper, now is a really great time to do that because it's on sale. So I decided to do an 8.5 by 11 page because in my Project Life album, I use calendars at the beginning of each month, and they are 8.5 by 11. They just go in a 8.5 by 11 page protector. And so then there's always room on the other side for me to add in different things throughout the month. If I get some cards, or if the kids make something and I want to save it, it just ends up being this little pocket of miscellaneous stuff. And sometimes it's nice to stick a layout on the back of that. So that's why I wanted to do the 8.5 by 11. And I thought it would kind of help me with this page because I was just struggling with it. Nothing that the ideas that I had in my head that I thought would work, just nothing was working. So I took some of this coffee designer paper, and there's this early espresso piece that has this wood grain design, and I just stuck that in the middle, and that is a 4-inch piece right there. So I had played around doing a couple different things. I had layered some stuff on that original piece of paper. Nothing was working. So this is a craft piece of cardstock, and I just cut it down to 8.5 by 11. I didn't round any corners on this layout. Looking back, I kind of wish I had, but I didn't. So I'm just looking through this set of cards, and this is like an all year round kind of card set. So it has some summer stuff, some winter stuff, spring, and then some fall or autumn stuff. So I'm pulling out a couple of the cards that I think will work, and there's one of those leaf cards that kind of match that stamp set and die set that we have been using this week. And so I just flipped through there, and they also have the same design, that painted look with like the chipped paint or the distressed paint, and then like the paint chips. It has that same look as that designer paper that we used yesterday as well. I also will use that piece, those two pieces right there you see, that's from the designer paper, and it's the same as I used on those cards. And so right here, I'm just trying to figure out how to layer this together. And all of a sudden, it occurs to me, why don't I just trim down some of these cards? So sometimes we forget that these Memory and More cards, or our Project Life cards, we can definitely trim those down, and we don't have to use them exactly how they come. It's definitely nice that we have these cards, and I'm a huge Project Life fan. 3x4, 4x6, these cards are amazing. They make things super simple, but we can also trim them down. So I really wanted to use this card. It said things I love most, I think is what it says, about autumn. And of course, this is my favorite time of the year, fall and autumn, and then Christmas and winter. I really do enjoy the most. And so I thought it would be fun. One of the things that I was thinking I would document on this page is we have a walnut tree in our front yard. And this is the time of the year that the walnuts start dropping, and their shell has to be the shell around the walnut shell it splits, and the walnuts then fall out of that. And it's a big deal kind of in our house this month. We wait for that tree, for that to happen, and then my husband gets up in the tree and he shakes all the branches and all the walnuts fall, and then the kids collect them, and the shell, the outer part of the shell around the shell of the walnut come off real easy. So the kids will knock that off, and then we collect buckets and buckets of walnuts. And so that was one thing that I was thinking would be really fun to document. I always take pictures every year, but I thought that would be fun to kind of put on here. And then also it's the month as the temperature starts cooling, I start drinking coffee more. So you will see later I get out my coffee stamp set, and I add a little bit of a like I add a coffee cup to this. So those are kind of my ideas. I oftentimes will put layouts together that I don't have photos for yet. And that's just a way for me to kind of stay up on my memory keeping, because I don't, we all struggle with time and to put together our memory keeping pieces. So if you can do some things ahead of time and kind of think about that, it makes it easier. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue here to the bottom of this page because I used some blue designer paper to mat the card up top that I trimmed down. So again, that's just designer paper from the Coffee Cafe Designer Series paper, and so I wanted to add a little bit of that blue. I felt like it needed another color. So I start with a smaller strip, but then you'll see I end up adding a 2-inch strip down to the bottom of it. And I think that you guys can probably see in this, I didn't edit this video at all. I really left my process. I left it so you could see my process. I really was struggling with this page. I just could not seem to figure out. I think it was maybe because it was an odd size and I didn't have a plan going in. I wasn't, using a sketch, or I didn't really necessarily have an idea. So I did struggle quite a bit with it, and I wanted you guys to see that because things don't always come together super easy for me. And one thing I realized is as I kept fussing with this, I was getting frustrated, and I just had a moment where I was like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Like, let's get this down so you can add the photos when you get photos printed later this month, and it'll be done. Like, simple and just done is better than not getting it done. So instead of continuing to fuss around and try to make it perfect, I just started to go with it to get it done. And I'm, relatively happy with the way it came out. It's definitely not my favorite layout. But I just didn't want to spend any more time fussing with it. So here, I wanted to use that the best time of the year card. That's maybe a saying that we think about more with like Christmas. But definitely those colors of that card does not scream Christmas to me. So I wanted to use that. So here you'll see, like, I tried to put it a couple places. I just trimmed off the very top of it. And I thought about like maybe layering it in a couple places. I thought about cutting the end and making it a flag, but I realized there really wasn't enough of the card left to be able to do that. So I pull out some buttons. I had remembered that I had these early espresso colored buttons. They're just this really dark brown, and I thought that would tie in really nice and kind of fill that spot up there. So I pulled that out, and then I saw my coffee tags in the drawer, and I thought, maybe that would work. So that's where the coffee, you can see I'm kind of looking at them right now. I start thinking like maybe I'll add a coffee element to this. So I just move these buttons around and try to figure out, do I want 3 or 4? And then here in a minute, I'm going to turn off the camera and I'll come back after I have put everything down with adhesive and I have a better plan. So here you can see I've added some soft sky baker's twine to those buttons. And I don't have everything glued down yet, but I did put foam tape on the back of that card. I thought that would add some great dimension to this page, and that gives it a little bit of texture. And then I also put that best time of the year, and then that is over autumn, so I covered up what that card had said. So that's the other thing I want to remind you guys of. We can cut these cards up and then layer some of them together, and it gives you a whole different look. So this, I didn't really feel like I had to do things that I love, because that's what the card had said before. I felt like this gave me kind of the title of that page now is the best time of the year, autumn. And I feel like it's a little bit more open to the feel that I want. So I'm using glue dots here to put my buttons down. I decided to just do 3, and I'm spacing them out in that space. And as I added the buttons, I realized that what I felt like was missing from this page was definitely like the circle element. If I had wanted to mess with this anymore, if I hadn't been so frustrated at this point, I feel like I could have gotten some circle punches out, and then I could have done something that would have made me a little bit more happy with the layout. But one thing that I am definitely trying to remember is I want the stories of my pages, of my memory keeping pages, to be the star of what I'm doing. It's not so much about the product or the elements or how perfect it is. It's really about telling these stories and preserving those for, that's what I love about it. So I'm not disappointed with this layout at all. You see, I put that down crooked. A little tip for you guys, I have this Cricut spatula. I actually just purchased this a couple weeks ago because I lost my original one, and that works perfect for kind of pulling up those elements if you need to re-stick them. So I used that real quick and then just attached all of that. And then you're going to see here in a second, I will bring over the coffee cup I created. So again, I'm not necessarily disappointed with this page, and I definitely want to record and, jot down and put the photos in my Project Life album of the things that I love about autumn and just some of our traditions. I'm trying really hard to get more feeling into our album. I'm kind of in a slump right now, guys, with Project Life. It's really hard. I haven't felt this way in a long time, but I'm in a little bit of a slump. So I'm just starting with baby steps and trying to get back in there and feel more inspired. So I hope you enjoyed this page. It's nothing spectacular, but it gets those memories recorded and it gets in my Project Life album, and that's the most important thing. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and we'll be back on Thursday to start a very special series. I have a really fun project we're going to dive into Thursday, so make sure you head back over here to my YouTube channel and my website on Thursday, and we're going to have the best time. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will chat with you guys later.